welcome to the new Children's Museum. My name is Amy. I am an art educator here at the museum. I'm standing here in our Innovators Lab makerspace, surrounded by our newest installation, Energized, by the artist Regan Russell. Now, as you can tell, this artist really loves color and light. And this beautiful mural that he's created on our window is all about color and light and the way that the sun brings it in. So you can see we're surrounded by the reflections of this mural all around us. I want you to think about those ideas because we're going to take them and create our own color and light catchers using sort of similar materials to what Regan worked with. So when you're ready, join me over here at the table and we'll get started. Hi artists. Okay, are you ready to make your color and light catcher inspired by the beautiful mural that we just talked about? In order to do that, you're going to need a few materials, so let's make sure you have those first. What you'll need are a few pieces of colored cellophane. Look how this loves the color and light. You'll want at least 4, and they don't have to be very large. You're also going to need a piece of acetate. This is clear plastic. Now, if you don't have this, I'm recommending some other alternatives like laminating sheets or even a piece of plexiglass. This part isn't going to go up on our window at the end, so don't worry about it if it's heavy. That's not going to matter. And you'll also need a glue stick and finally a pair of scissors. Now, I'm going to work without a pencil or any drawing material, and I challenge you to do the same. But if that's really hard for you, you can find something to draw your ideas onto the cellophane before you cut them out. I would recommend probably a light colored crayon, like a white or yellow colored crayon, okay? So now we're gonna get started making our color and light catcher. The first thing we're gonna do is think about a shape. You're gonna start by adding some big shapes to your design. Now, what we're gonna be cutting those shapes out of is the cellophane and attaching it to the acetate, okay? So I'm gonna choose a color to begin with. I think I'm gonna start with yellow. Now, you'll probably notice as you're working with the cellophane that it's very lightweight, which is fun. It can also be a little tricky. So one thing I wanna recommend to you is maybe cutting it a little bit smaller to start with. So I just cut my piece in half and then think about a shape that you wanna cut from there. I'm gonna try a circle. In order to do that, I'm actually gonna fold it in half again. Makes it a little easier to cut and cut all the way around. Once I've done this, I'm gonna cut maybe one more big shape and then I'm gonna do the next step. But let me show you this first. Now I'm gonna trim the edge of that circle a little bit. Okay, so I've got that. I'm gonna set it on my acetate. When you set it on there, it kind of attaches in a nice way. Makes it a little easier to keep track of. Now, that's a fun shape. When I look at that shape, it gives me an idea. And my idea is kind of want to do a sunset. You don't have to do an idea like that. This can just be all about shapes. So keep it simple. That's my recommendation. Keep it simple. Don't get super detailed. But I kind of want to explore cutting in a different way. So instead of doing a straight cut, I'm going to do something a little bit curvy. See that? And then I'm gonna layer it on top. Now, I wanna show you something that happens when you do that. Don't know how well you can see this, but I'm gonna hold it up and show you that when I put the cellophane colors on top of each other, not only do those shapes come together, but the colors come together. And that's also something that Regan was exploring with his mural, the way that colors blend and create new colors. So when that yellow and that blue lay on top of each other, they create the new color that you see here, a green. So when you're doing this, I want you to play with combining colors. That's one of the fun aspects of this project. Now I have my big shapes, so I'm going to take the next step, which is to glue them down with my glue stick. I'm gonna show you how to do that, and then we're gonna pause the video so that you have a chance to try this first step yourself. So when you are gluing, I'm gonna recommend for a shape like this, something maybe about the size of your hand or smaller, I would put the glue right on the shape. Really give it a lot of glue, and you will find that that cellophane likes to curl up. That's okay, work with it. One of the things as artists that we have to kind of challenge ourselves with sometimes is learning how to work with materials. Get it nice and covered, figure out where you want to put it on your design, set it down, and smooth it out. Oh, see, mine curled a little bit, which I'm actually glad it did that because I want to show you, you just got to work through it. All right. But that glue stick loves to stick to that acetate, so it will keep your cellophane right on there. When gluing this larger shape, instead of putting it onto the cellophane, I'm actually going to put it onto the acetate. I know where I want to put it, so I'm going to put the glue down first and then set my piece on top. Now remember, this glue will dry clear, so even if it goes a little bit beyond your borders of your cellophane, don't worry about that. It's all good. Okay. So I'm going to stop there, okay? Show you what I've done so far. I'm going to stop there and give you a chance to play around with adding, I would say, 2 to 3 big shapes to your design. And then we'll come back together and I'll show you the next steps. Have fun. Welcome back, artists. I hope you had fun adding some big shapes to your design and probably in the process learned a little bit more about working with this material. If it wasn't totally what you expected, I'm just going to encourage you to embrace that. I had a few surprises myself in making mine, and that's okay. What I've started to do and what you're going to do in just a moment is to keep going. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to keep adding shapes. This time you can get a little smaller. I've started to add some more blocks of color, some shapes. I've added a couple of squares, and you can see again how it changes the color. The colors start to blend and create new colors. It changes the look of my overall picture. I'm gonna keep going with this and add some more, but first I wanted to share with you one more technique that I want you to think about. And this is something a little bit different than what's happening in Regan's mural, but it's something fun that I discovered in working with the cellophane. So you probably noticed that when you're working with the cellophane, it moves a little bit in ways on its own. It also crinkles, meaning it kind of squishes up and wrinkles and makes even a fun sound when it does that. Well, I was trying to play with it before and it was kind of being a little tricky for me, but then I decided I'm just gonna go with that. So what I decided to do was to actually squish up a piece of my cellophane. And because it's so lightweight and the way it's made, it sticks together in that way. And to add something like that to my picture. Now, all you have to do to add it to your design is to glue it right on the same way you've been adding the other pieces. And what that creates is what we call relief. So relief is when you have a flat surface and you have something sticking out from it. And in art, this is something that artists explore a lot with lots of different materials. So today, I want you to think about maybe adding a little bit of relief to your design. Again, you're gonna glue it on just like you would the other pieces. So now you have the fun challenge to add some other shapes, keep layering those colors, layering those shapes on top of each other, using the glue as you go. And if you feel so inclined, give that relief a chance, okay? When you're done with that, come back here and we'll talk about the final steps. Have fun, artists. Okay, artists, welcome back. I hope you've had fun adding more to your design. I wanted to show you a couple final steps and I hope you'll find these interesting. So I have a finished work here that I'm gonna show you something you can do with it in just a moment, and you can see my relief there. But before I get to that, you have just finished adding all of your shapes. If you want to go through and try gluing everything down just a little bit more just to make sure it's really stuck, I encourage you to do that. After you do that, set it aside for a little while, maybe 15 to 20 minutes, so it can fully set and that glue can fully dry. Once you've done that, you'll grab your work, and this is not a complete work, but I want to show you what's going to happen. So this one I've just glued some pieces on, just like we've been doing, and once it's dry, what you'll find is it will actually peel right off of your acetate. You want it to do that. Don't worry, it's not a problem. That's a good thing. If you have glued everything well enough, all those pieces will be stuck together. If for some reason you have something that's not, just use your glue stick and do a little touch-up, okay? The other cool thing about this is you have a ready-to-go piece of acetate that you can create a whole new design on if you have some leftover cellophane. And you probably have a little leftover. If not, that's okay. So the last step that we're gonna do, and I think the most fun, is to see our work of art capture the light. And just like Regan's mural, we're gonna see some fun effects that happen with that. So we're gonna pop over to the window here, and I'm gonna show you how to set up your color and light catcher to catch the light. Hi artists. Okay, now I'm even closer to the mural and closer to the window and the light, which when you're ready, I want you to find a window or some kind of clear surface that the light is coming through to hang up your color and light catcher. You're gonna need just a few pieces of clear tape. 4 is best, so you can put 1 on each corner, and then you're gonna find a spot to hang your work. I'm gonna put mine right here, hang it up. I'm gonna push those corners. Got a couple more pieces of tape here. Push them down. Again, you don't need much. Oops. Let me pull this aside for a moment so you can really see the way that the light comes in. Now, that's exciting enough. And one new thing that you can do on top of that, just like Regan's mural, what you may not know is that as the light is coming through that cellophane, that those colors are being reflected in front of the work, and I can prove that to you. So if I put a white piece of paper up to the work, you can see that that rainbow of color is showing up on the white paper. So the sun is shining through my work of art and reflecting it onto the white paper in front. And what I'm gonna suggest that you do is put it up on the window, and then throughout the day, check on it a few times. Put the white paper in front and see how the reflection changes. Mural, the work that Regan did here, this mural changes throughout the day, and I bet you that your work will too. So explore that, have fun just observing it and noticing what happens. And thank you so much for joining me today in the Innovators Lab in front of this beautiful piece. I hope you have fun creating your own, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye, artists.